Hello everybody, I'm Evan Snows, here today to talk to you about the duties and actions of a professional film editor. Part 1. Occupation-specific information. Now we could talk all day about film editors and how cool you are if you edit videos, but what exactly do they do? Well, I've narrowed it down to 3 things, and the reason I've chosen 3 is because 3 is the minimum requirement for a full grade. Now, the first thing film editors do is they take raw footage provided by a director and piece it together to help create a compelling story. The second thing film editors do is they take that footage and sync it up with music to help give the story emotion. The final thing film editors do is they just help to make the film flow better by cutting out unnecessary scenes and trimming the fat off of the director's footage. So now that we know what a film editor is, what does a day on the job look like? Well, it can vary. You see, some editors prefer to work from home on their own computers. Other editors prefer to work in a professional studio with a beastly PC provided to them by the studio. Now, one thing always remains consistent: the director hovering behind their back. You see, the director needs to supervise every single move the editor makes, which makes sense because it is the director's movie and he needs to make sure that the editor does not mess it up under any circumstances. And you'll want to listen to what the director says too, because if you don't, you could end up with a director's cut of a film, which is more often than not the work of a director very disappointed in his editor. Now you'll be working about 50 hours a week, typical office hours, but more passionate film editors can work overtime to crank out a more quality product in the end. Part 2. Experience and training. Now, if you're looking to become a professional film editor, you'll probably need a Bachelor of Arts with a major in film and television. Now, to become a film editor, you are going to need some previous skill. Let's say 3. Now, the first one, I believe, is you need to be good with computers. If you aren't good with computers, don't even bother. Which is interesting, because film editing used to be a much more physical process until somewhere in the late 90s, where all of a sudden people found the job was being overtaken by computers. It made the job much easier and much simpler, and is actually where we get terms like cut from, because back then you'd literally need to cut the film in order to edit it. The second thing you'll need? Patience. Anyone who has ever edited a video will tell you this. If you don't take your time to make a video good, what you will end up with is absolutely subpar and hardly worth anyone's time. You need to be passionate about your project and you need to show it. The last thing you'll need is pretty simple. Last thing you'll need is an eye for detail. Of course, if you're editing a film, you need to be able to see into every nook and cranny of the footage that is given to you. If you can't tell the director exactly what needs to be done with every single piece of footage given, well, then it just won't work out. That's what editing is using your eyes for detail to work with a film. Part 3. Job availability, job outlook, and earnings. Now that we've talked about the skills required, now we need to talk about one of the more important parts about any job, really.
We've got to have money.
Let's break down the numbers. The entry-level wage would be somewhere around $40,000 a year. The median would be somewhere around $60,000 a year. And the potential can go up to around $150,000 a year. That's pretty good, all things considered. If you're looking to become a film editor yourself, well then you're in luck. The job outlook is very bright and job opportunities are opening all the time. Part 4. Occupation flexibility and advancement. If you want careers similar to an editor, you need not look far. People are always looking for editors for videos for marriages or funerals, or even career training videos.
Put the drink on the left-hand side of the tray. If the order's to go, put the lid on tight. Make sure it pops to do it right. Then hand that drink to the coordinator and tell the guest you'll see him later.
If you still have that major in film and television, well, you can still do things with it besides editing. You could become a producer or a director and oversee the production of a film or television series. There are things you can do with it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, is all I have to say about film editing. Evan out.
Don't forget to smile when you serve cold drinks.